Hi Capricorn, this is your forecast for August of 2020. The first thing I did is I used the Mist of Avalon Oracle. And for you, we drew the King of the Fairy Realm. And pretty much he's telling you that it's time to let go of all those things within your psyche that is harming you. It's time to be reborn and to leave behind the past that no longer serves you. You are pretty much getting rid of behaviors of anything in your psyche that no longer fits your life, in order for you to be a new you and have the life that you've always wanted. And you're the one, Capricorn, that has to do the work. Okay, so now we have the astrological aspects. And on the first, we have Mercury in Cancer in the 7th house opposing Pluto in Capricorn in the 1st house. And, you know, your communications about emotional matters in your life have shown you pretty much how you've had to change your own behaviors about emotional matters in order to feel healthy and complete, because you had always brought the wrong people into your life. And then the ones who were in your life forever, you allowed to do things that you just aren't going to allow anymore. And that's where Pluto comes in, stripping away the layers of who you are at the very deepest level. Now, on the 3rd, we've got the moon in Aquarius in the 2nd house. Happy full moon to ya. And pretty much you have become emotionally detached from others because you are going through a big change, and you're changing your ethics, your morals, and you're finding out who you are, because you have seen how when egos get in the way, that nobody gets anywhere, and you are want to be more giving in your life, and you're not going to be around those who take from you all the time. So you've had to learn how to detach from people that were always taking. Now, on the 3rd again, we also have Mercury in Cancer in the 7th house, opposing Saturn in Capricorn in your 1st house. And your emotional partnerships in your life have always tried to stop you from being you, to where you became very unhappy and weren't happy with where you were in life, because they always had power plays. They were, you know, using emotional manipulation, your partnerships. They were using, you know, your emotional ties in order to get what they wanted from you, which was not healthy for you. And, you know, they were always hard on you about the things that you wanted for your life. And again, you are now taking control of the reins of your life and moving into a new life, to where you're building a structure on firm foundation, because you were letting go of the past and behaviors that you tolerated, all for the sake of love. You're now, you know, doing emotional connections in a totally different way. Now, on the 4th, we have Mercury moving into Leo in your 8th house. And, you know, you're going to be more playful and more joyful with your most intimate relationships. with Leo being in the 8th house, you're also not afraid to show your vulnerability anymore, to where you had always, afraid to show who you are and make yourself vulnerable. But you're not afraid of that anymore, because the only person that can make you feel vulnerable about who you are is you, by listening to the wrong people in your life. Now, on the 7th, we have Venus in Cancer moving into the 7th house. And pretty much you are communicating emotionally and lovingly and with partnerships in your life, because you know what the most important things are, and you're no longer who you used to be in partnerships. So you are on a whole different realm these days in your partnerships, because the behaviors that you used to have in your life are no longer applicable, and you're not going to allow the same types of behaviors and people into your life that keep bringing up these negative things in your life, because they're not there anymore. You're creating your life in the way you want it to be. Now, on the 13th, we have Mars in Aries in the 4th house, and that's squaring Pluto in Capricorn in the 1st house. And pretty much aggressive actions are happening within your family. They don't like the changes that you're making. They don't like who you're becoming. But you cannot worry about that. You have got to be true to yourself in order to get the structure that you want in your life. Because let's face it, your family has never given you the structure in your life that you needed, because they were always so focused on what they wanted in their life from the time you were a child, that you didn't get what you needed. And that's why now you're stripping away all these behaviors that aren't serving you, because they taught you how to be the scapegoat for what they wanted. And you're no longer going to be the sacrificial lamb, pretty much. Now, on the 16th, we have Mercury in Leo in the 8th house, and that's trining again Mars in Aries in your 4th house. And pretty much you're communicating the most intimate parts of yourself, and you're sharing yourself happily and joyfully, and it's with your children, your family, your dating life. You're just communicating with anybody that pretty much is close to you. And you are letting them see your vulnerabilities. And guess what? You're going to get over it easily, because you aren't going to be held vulnerable to their manipulations anymore. This is for you. You are building a life for you. You have raised your children, or you might still be raising your children, and you don't want your children to have the same scars as you have from your family, because you want to break that family cycle, because you've been looking at how your family repeats cycles and you just don't want no part of it. Now, on the 18th, we've got the sun, and that's conjunct the moon. Oh, it's our new moon in Leo. Happy new moon to you guys. And it's in your 8th house. Now, pretty much with it being in the 8th house, you're having a new beginning with the closest relationships in your life, the most intimate relationships in your life. There is a new beginning there, and that will take place for you. You know, because you aren't who you used to be, and therefore you don't want the same partnerships. You want partnerships that are going to allow you to shine and be who you are. Because those who try to, and this reminds me of All in the Family, when Archie used to tell Edith to stifle it, because you're no longer going to stifle it. You are going to show the world who you are, and you are also going to show the most intimate relationships in your life who you are, and you're going to shine while you do it. Now, on the 19th, we have Mercury moving into Virgo in the 9th house. And as you see, Mercury is gaining speed. So, because this is the second time this month he's moved into a sign. So, all forward motion now. Now, and basically with Mercury in the 9th, you know, you're using your knowledge and your wisdom, you know, to think before you communicate. You know that there has to be a plan in place, and that emotions can't just be spout off, that you have to think about everything. And this will all have to do with, you know, your 9th house, which is long distance travel. It can be broadcasting, advertising, higher education, religion, philosophies. You're really thinking about your philosophies these days, and you're no longer just spouting off, because you have been doing a lot of thinking and soul searching in this area of your life, and you are moving forward in it. Now, on the 22nd, we then have the sun moving into Virgo in your 9th house. And pretty much again, you're no longer just thinking about it. Now you're showing people, and you're shining in 9th house areas, whether that be long distance travel, you know, broadcasting, advertising, higher education, philosophies, religion, long distance travel. You are definitely using your knowledge and your wisdom and expertise in this area, and you're putting a plan together, and then you let that light of yours shine, and people are really seeing you shine in these areas of your life. Then on the 24th, we have got Mars in Aries in the 4th house, again squaring Saturn in Capricorn in the 1st house. And again, your family doesn't like, you know, what you're doing. So they don't like the structure that you're building. So they're trying to be controlling. They're being aggressive with you in order to try to get control of you. You know, but you're just not going to do it anymore. You are who you are, and you're building a solid, firm foundation with a structure that feels good to you and not what feels good to your family. Because in this life, we have to be true to ourselves and not, I mean, yes, we have to be true to our families, but we don't have to give our lives up for our families either. Now, on the 27th, We have got Venus in Capricorn, Venus in Cancer in the 7th house, and that is trining Neptune in Pisces in the 12th house. And pretty much, you're really looking at how you have loved, and your emotional partnerships. Because with Neptune in Pisces in the 12th, you are using your God-given psychic ability. You are using your spirituality, and you're using what you have learned in your psyche about the illusions that you have held in your life about others, and at the most deepest level. And you're changing for the better because you are looking at the most deepest part of yourself, and in the process you're changing your partnerships also. And especially if your relationships with your children, you're changing them because you see how your upbringing and the way you thought things were affected your children, and you're not going to do that anymore. You are changing who you are, which in return is going to make that you to break that cycle and to change things for your children. And you're changing it at the most intimate level ever. It's within your psyche. You're changing the whole makeup of your internal being, which is transforming your relationships, and especially the emotional ones in your life. Now, on the 29th, we have Mercury in Virgo in the 9th house, trining Jupiter in Capricorn in the 1st house. And you know what? You are using your wisdom and your knowledge to communicate this with others. And it is in 9th house matters that you are communicating this, whether that be advertising, philosophies, religion, advertising, broadcasting, higher education, publishing. You are just changing things for the better in your life, which is going to lead, to expansion for you. And it's all because your ethics and morals have went through a shift, and you know what you will allow now and what you won't allow. And it's no longer about letting people walk on you, but standing in your own truth and in your own reality and building from there. Because you are expanding your foundation, and it's all because your ethics and morals have changed, about the way you do things. You realize people aren't going to change for you, that you've got to change, and if they don't fit your life, then they need to go, because you're a different person than you used to be. And Capricorn, all I can say is keep expanding, okay? Keep cleaning out the psyche, because you are becoming a very beautiful soul. And when you become a beautiful soul, you expand in ways that you never knew possible. You know that your morals and ethics had to change in order for you to change at the most deepest level. You have lost so much over the years, and now you're rebuilding a structure that is worthy of rebuilding on a firm foundation. And all I can say is you are no longer going to stifle it. So have a great day, Capricorn. Well, a great month. I love you, and I'll see you in September. Bye-bye.